Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. And let me just say good morning. Good morning to my family, my people. Do what you doing here. What's up, Al Boogie? How you doing this morning, fam?
Been a while, but I feel great. I feel great. Great morning.
Yeah,
Great morning.
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. I like
It's
walking
great
in.
to be back.
Like, who is this dude? I think I know this, bruh. Let me also say good morning to the young genius. What up, Carvey P? Is it you guys mic?
Yeah.
I don't know if they still heard you. We trying to make sure,
Oh,
y'all hear from the
that
young
part too.
genius.
Yeah, and then six, right? I think it's six.
So, family, look,
Hold on.
we trying to make sure that all is good. But let me just say this. It has been an incredible weekend, a busy weekend. We are winding down, and there is so much to get to today. When I tell you I'm not playing, I am hoping. Now, today I'm mad that I'm not doing two shows because it's that much stuff to talk about and that much stuff to get to in relationship to everything that's happening around us. But before we do that, let me take a quick second just to talk about a couple of things that occurred over the weekend. So, number one, had the pleasure of being over at Pepper Pot this weekend for a Black Men Vote rally, get out the vote. A number of people came through, and you know, I had some interesting conversations with brothers about how they were feeling about the upcoming election, whether or not they plan to vote. One brother, good morning, Alex. How you doing, fam? One brother in particular that I spoke to, an individual that is a military soldier, has been in the military for 6 years, and he and I were sitting next to each other in Pepper Pot, and so I looked over to the brother and I said, "Hey, are you voting?" And I explained to him, like what kind of event we were having, because he was just in there to order food. And so he said, so he just looked straight ahead. He wouldn't answer me. He just looked straight ahead. And had this crazy stoic look on his face. So I said, "Hey fam, I appreciate whatever that is, but bro, I look just like you. I didn't ask you who you was voting for. I just asked you if you were voting." And so you could tell he was sitting there thinking about it. And then he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I'm voting." And I said, "Well, cool." I said, "That's all I'm asking." And he said, "Wow." He said, "Who are you with?" And so I was telling him I was with the NAACP and da 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 da. And he said, he said, "I'm gonna just tell you something." He said, "I have gotten probably 6 to 8 text messages a day, phone calls from people asking me if I'm voting, or people outright telling me who I should vote for." He said, "First of all, as somebody in the military, I have to um, basically, have an allegiance or obey whoever wins this election. I don't get the choice once it's time to go to work." And he said, "But I'm also offended at people trying to talk to me like I haven't been watching what's been going on in our country for the last 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. I don't need somebody to tell me what I should think." And, so I just sat and I listened. And he said, "So why did you ask?" And I said, "Well, if you've been watching, as you said, there's a lot of conversations about whether or not Black men are going to participate in the election, and B, who they may support. And so there are a lot of folks that are concerned." And he said, Well, and he walked through some reasons. He talked about, not supporting one candidate over the other. And he and I ended up having just a real thoughtful conversation. I talked to some other brothers, and some of the other brothers, one brother, you could tell he was a straight up sexist because even the way he handled me. And I was like, hey, fam, I don't know what you used to, partner, but I ain't it. Don't talk to me like that. And he just kind of was like, wait, what? I said, you heard what I said? I said, that ain't how grown folks communicate. I said, all that slickness, that gotta stop. And so, it actually made him laugh. He was like, who are you again? And so, I introduced myself again, but I said, look, we're going to talk about these candidates in a way that if you disparaging one and calling her out her name, I'm gonna need you to call the other one out his name too. But we ain't gonna just disrespect the sister. And this don't have nothing to do with partisan politics. This is just about a black woman looking out for another black woman. Now we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. And so I said, I don't know what color your mommy is, but whatever color she is, I would hope you wouldn't handle women like what I just got. And so I had a number of conversations that spanned the gamut in terms of engaging brothers. Overwhelmingly, though, and one of the conversations that I had, I said, we understand that this data does not get put out there. That black women are the most reliable vote in America. We show up in unrivaled numbers. Period. We show up. Behind us, only by about 3 percentage points, is black men. I don't know why the media does not talk about black male voting, because it's almost like it does people a benefit to make people believe that black men don't vote. But for the most part, that's not true. That's not true. But there is something inherent in all of these systems across media outlets all over this country, that the pervasive message is that bros don't show up. But the data does not support that. Now, they may not show up in numbers, again, in comparison to sisters or whoever, but they show up. And they may not always vote for who somebody thinks they should vote for, but they vote. So that was one of the realest moments that came out of that event. And then Congressman Danny Davis out of Illinois, State Representative Myers, when she worked in our Senate office, a lot of people have heard me say that when Lakeisha Myers graduated from Alcorn State University, she had a chance meeting with Lena Taylor, then Senator Taylor, at an event. She was just attending as just an individual, getting back in the community after graduating from college. She ends up meeting Senator Taylor, tells Senator Taylor, your office sent me a congratulatory letter about something she had done while in college. They end up talking. She also says, I'm also an AKA. They end up talking about that since Lena's an AKA. And she says, and I'm looking for a job. Lena says, call Michelle in my office and have her bring you in, and let's see, let's go from there. We hire Lakeisha. Lakeisha stayed with us for about a year, but Lakeisha always had a dream of working in Congress and working on the Hill in the United States Capitol. So when we are at Congressional Black Caucus, Lakeisha makes connections. She meets Congressman Danny Davis's team and Congressman Davis. He's right next door in Chicago. She was like, I'm trying to get a job up on the Hill. He basically hired her that day at CBC. But for formality purposes, he told her, come over to Chicago, talk to my team over there, and then we'll go from there. She's hired. So then she leaves our office to go work for Congressman Danny Davis when only after a year of being with us. And that's where she works there on the Hill for a few years. And then she follows the family business and goes into education. Both her parents are educators. But we see Congressman Davis. Congressman Davis is an old school G. He brings 100 people with him on buses to come into Milwaukee and canvass and knock doors. We had so many people flooding the city on Saturday and Sunday that it was crazy. So people, were like calling, like, we coming by your events or we coming over here, but like we out here on these doors. The weather is beautiful. People want to talk to more people. Go do that. Y'all have an amazing time. So I leave Pepper Pot because I have to speak over at Marquette University because my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, is holding a voter engagement event. Get over there. I'm speaking to the group. My soror, Paula Penny Baker, she talks about Project 2025. I talk about what matters to voters. And I mentioned by happenstance, making a point, not bragging, but making a point that I was supposed to be at a breakfast on Sunday morning, and Kerry Washington, who is one of, like, there are very few people I fan over. I love Kerry Washington. Scandal, you can talk. It ain't that way. No, we talk in the morning.
Scandal.
Feel free to weigh in. This ain't that kind of show, bro. You ain't got to be quiet up in here. Whatever I'm saying, you can stop me, ask questions. Oh, I want to say, no, it ain't that kind of party. Feel free to jump in. But yeah, what Kerry Washington, Olivia Pope did on Scandal, my boy, please. My show all day. And was clean as the Board of Health every show. She was so sharp. She reminded me of LaToya Sykes. So in any case, Kerry Washington, I mentioned I'm going to go see Kerry Washington for breakfast that morning. Well, one of the brothers that's in the session, Daryl Williams, he was just on the show last week. He was the brother that brought us the folks from Dry Hooch and the author of the book about the Black generals. And so he was a part of that conversation on air. He says, Michelle, Kerry Washington is getting ready to play in a movie about the African American group of soldiers that were females that were in World War II. And I said, oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, Tyler Perry's getting ready to do this whole piece about this group of soldiers. So, Elle, I want to play a clip. Let me get the cord. Oh, I said the 3. So the 688. My bad. Sorry. I was getting ready to say it right because I just pulled up the clip. So let me do this. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. So I'm trying to bring it up because I want to bring up this clip. Hold on. Let me know when y'all ready. Okay, we good? Okay, hang on. Let me make sure my thing's up. Okay. You know what? Let me see if this one has audio. Because this one.
Soldiers, you must be perfect. You do not have the luxury to be good. You have the burden to be better. Look alive, ladies. I need women who've had to fight to survive. I am giving you my best, and you will give me yours. A lot of people do not want us to succeed. We have the most to prove. Welcome to the Women's Army Corps.
Yeah. So there's a longer one, and I'm going to get it and play it because I've talked about this group of sisters before. 2 years ago I think it was during Black History Month, State Representative Lakeisha Myers actually honored a member, Miss Anna Mae Robertson, a member of this unit of the 6888. They actually received a Congressional Medal of Honor, the only women unit to receive one. Um, they were the folks that ran the postal department for the U.S. military during World War II abroad. And so in talking to Daryl, he comes up after the program and he says, Michelle, as I said, he said, Kerry Washington is playing one of the women from this unit. And he said, it's a member of the unit here in Milwaukee. And like at this point, I forgot. I keep telling you my memory is atrocious. So I had forgotten about that. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. He said, Miss Anna Mae Robertson, she's 100 years old. And I was like, what? He was like, it would be so cool if we could arrange for them to meet. And I said, let me make a phone call. So I called one of my good friends, Martha Collins. Martha Collins said, let me get on it. I'm out of it. I connected to them. I walk away. My day is so crazy on Sunday. I'm like, yeah, I can't do any of this stuff. I got other stuff I got to take care of. Daryl hits me up later in the day, says everything worked out. It's all set. I'm like, okay, cool. I had no idea though. Later in the afternoon, Daryl would send me a picture of Kerry Washington, Miss Anna Mae Robertson, her daughter, and Daryl in this photo. And I'm looking at the photo. Kerry Washington went to Anna Mae Robertson's home. It was supposed to be a 5-minute drop in, say hello, just want to meet you. And it ended up being a half an hour. And the photos that were taken are some of the most incredible photos of the two of them holding hands, of Kerry down on her knees at the recliner of Miss Robinson's in the home. Miss Robinson sitting in a recliner with a quilt over her. Kerry's at her knees, talking to her, sitting on the floor. And he talked about it was such a powerful moment, but that Miss Robertson was smiling, she was talking some, and, she understood what was happening in this whole moment. The ability to see something like that play out and Kerry Washington understanding I'm playing one of these heroic Black women that I now understand there are only 2 of them left of this entire unit. Everyone else has passed away. There are 2 of them left right here in Milwaukee. And then I had to go back because I was telling Lakeisha about it because Lakeisha was in Detroit for an event this weekend. And Lakeisha was like, Michelle, remember during Black History Month, we honored her. And then ultimately, Congresswoman Moore does a congressional, resolution or citation or whatever it's called for her too. Remember, we did this. And I completely blanked on it. But when I tell you, I got to go to break. The event that the Deltas had, my sororities had, it was extremely well attended. The information was amazing, but more importantly, the engagement from the audience, phenomenal. And it wasn't just Deltas, it was Marquette community members. It was, folks from the community at large. But when I tell you, I saw my young sisters that are still in undergrad and the leadership that they showed. And Keith Paris, who is, my colleague who follows me in the afternoon, his young niece, Paris, just phenomenal. And all of the undergraduate sorors, I was blown away. So hopeful for our future. And so I just had to say that this was a weekend that recharged me, reminded me, helped put that fight back, that energy that's needed to go through these last remaining 10 days. But y'all, we got an amazing history in this town that we don't appreciate. And we got some amazing people doing things that we don't uplift enough. So I got to take a break. When we get back, got to ton of other things to get through, but it was no way I was not going to start the show without thanking Daryl Williams for making that suggestion, Martha Collins for helping us to get that connected, and all the people who worked hard on that end to make sure that those two women got to meet. I'll be right back, y'all.
This wave of evictions harsh, saying it's putting people at risk. Joining me right now, we have Eva Welch and Shelly Saracen, both co-founding executive directors of Street Angels. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks. So Street Angels has been helping people access housing, shelter at park and rides and encampments for about 9 years now. So Eva, Shelley, if you don't mind, just share with us what you're seeing over the years and the needs that are continuing to grow.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen over the years is a continuous growth of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness. Unfortunately, what we have not seen is additional resources being added. There's been no shelter space added. There are no safe camping spaces for people to go. And from 2022 to 2024, in the month of September alone, we've seen a 120% increase of people that we have verified as unsheltered.
This latest eviction, about 70 plus evictions just in this alone.
Just in the park and rides?
Yeah.
But we've also received word from many other friends under bridges and in wooded encampments that they have also received notices saying leave within 24 to 48 hours or you will be arrested.
Shelley, I'm also understanding that it's making it difficult for you to even find folks to be able to give them the help and services that you need.
Right. So displacing folks who are already displaced makes it much harder to even access resources when they become available. If we had places where people knew they could go and they could access resources on site, like that would be ideal. There just isn't the shelter space to back up the need that we have right now. And one of the bigger things that we're seeing is our older adults are now experiencing homelessness for the first time. There's a big stigma behind homelessness. That it's younger and that we have folks that are addicted. We just need people that have people that need help.
And this is just an unfortunate incident coming from these closures. But I do want to note that these closures are coming after safety concerns. Public safety, police say that 42% of an increase that they've had in emergency calls to Holt Avenue and College Avenue compared to this time last year. And also the sheriff's office says that College Avenue has had 45 calls, including medical, theft, fights and violence, etc. Between July 1st and September 30th, city and county law enforcement said they responded to a combined of 275 calls for service. So with that being said, what are your thoughts of how the community is being impacted by this?
So it was all isolated incidents that were happening within the park and rides. And, you know, there is a lot of folks that are suffering from mental illness, whether it be depression or being stuck in survival mode, and things flare up, right? So some of the calls that were being received were things for like somebody took my chair. Not all of them, but there was very little violence happening in or around the park and rides. But again, there were no resources being offered. So perhaps if there were more resources there wouldn't have been as many calls to emergency services because a lot of times that's their only outlet.
Speaking of resources, you know, I feel like we're seeing the face of those who are unhoused changing as well. We've seen pregnant women out there. We're seeing families. We're seeing people perhaps displaced by fires. When it comes to perhaps thoughts of solutions, where do you guys stand and what do you think could happen there?
At this point in Milwaukee, for the 9-10 years that we've been doing this work, there is absolutely no shelter or safe haven that a person can just walk into from the streets. So I think number one, that's really important is that there's a safe space where everybody in the community knows they can go if they need to. You know, we also don't have enough affordable housing and the rents are just increasing, which is why we're seeing an increase of families and folks who are older because they're on fixed incomes, especially our elderly. Those incomes have not increased at all, but everything else has. As far as solutions, obviously more shelter space and more affordable housing.
All right.
Until those solutions are available, Street Angels will be out in the community making sure that people just have what they need to survive outside.
Ladies, thank you. And the city says it is trying to help provide some housing, even though it's not obviously enough, but they are trying to do something. Hopefully folks can help you guys too. We'll put some information about Street Angels if you would like to support their cause too during these incidents.
All right, family. I wanted to take a moment because like many of you that watch the news in the morning, you know, you awake or you go to bed to the stories regarding another park and ride situation in which a number of individuals that are unhoused have set up temporary camp and we're staying on the parking rides. Before it was over on Holt Avenue. Now this time on the south side at College Avenue, and the law enforcement agencies come through at the behest of city, or state leaders, whoever's behind some of these decisions, to say, and those are like state owned, I think so, probably state leaders, who come in to say that, look, this growth is crazy because this was intended for people to park their cars that were using public transit, to get to and from work. It was never intended to be a situation in which unhoused people, you got campers out here, you got, folks in their cars, whatever. It's just full blown unsheltered individuals encampment at this point. And because of safety concerns, we gotta do something. One of the things that caught my eye, and I don't know about you, Elle and Carvey, y'all travel, but the first time I rode through Chicago, and let me just say that video was Fox 6 News, making sure we give credit, but that the first time I rode through Chicago, and I saw people sleeping on the side of the freeway. And you could see their tents and you could see their covers put up to kind of provide and shield and provide some privacy. I was just like, what is happening? And so I was with, people who live in the area, and they were like, yeah, we got a lot of that. If you go this way, you'll see even more. And I was like, why? What's happening? And there's like, Michelle, you know how much it costs to get an apartment over here? And if you got like an eviction on your record, or you got poor credit, like, man, you're not getting no apartment, or you're going to stay somewhere that's crazy. And you're going to be paying the same money like it's a nice place, but it's garbage. And some of these people have mental health issues. And I was like, but why are they sleeping by the freeway? Because it's one of the safest places to be. How many people going to come up and rob them or hurt them or harm them along the freeway? So it's a safe place to be. The law enforcement ain't getting ready to walk up and trek up through here and come get them. And I was just like literally, I just kept going, oh my God, this is so crazy. I remember when we were preparing for these political conventions, going back to 2020, when the DNC was supposed to happen, and people, start moving these people out of the way. But folks are like, well, where do they go? And this morning, as I drove in, I'm seeing more and more homeless people walking up and down Capitol Drive. A lot of them brothers, a lot of them young Black men that look like they were under 25. And I'm sitting here like, Jesus, these brothers is like Carvey's age, like young, and Carvey, or younger. Carvey 19. And I'm looking at them. I even interacted with a brother this morning over by McDonald's on 27th, because I went to go get me some coffee, because I ain't make any before I left home. And I was like, I got to have some coffee today. And I went to go get some, and, only for them to tell me, I'm sorry, we can't take your order because our system is down. Like, y'all do too much. Y'all do too much. Y'all do too much. Y'all do too much. I was just like, don't cuss, Michelle. Just go. Just go. And then Wendy's, I don't know what they doing, because they were supposed to be having breakfast that starts at 6:30. They lights ain't never on over there. So I'm just like, I'm so tired of living in the hood. I'm so tired of living in the hood. And stuff don't ever work. That's what I did. That's what I did in the car when I was driving away. I was like, ah! That's what I did. I had a whole break. I had a breakdown this morning. And it was so crazy because I started to go to McDonald's on 76 and 76 in Capitol. But I was like, no, I'm gonna just go closer to the station. And I said, I knew I should have went to 76 in Capitol. 27th is always janky. It was so funny. Okay, so my breakdown aside. But I see, brothers that's homeless walking through the area. Cause I was like, bro, you good? Cause I was gonna get him breakfast. Well, their sister was down, so I couldn't even help the brother get a meal. Cause we ain't taking orders right now. Okay, anyway, I'm just having a moment. I'm having a moment. So okay. So I appreciate the work of Street Angels and the folks that try to figure out how to get engaged, how to help these people. But where do they go, y'all? And while everybody does not want help, everybody does not want to go into, some type of situation, because they talk about, the restrictions of being in different places. But that just got the best of me, and it's getting worse. And as more and more people amass these evictions on their records, or have issues with having enough money to be able to cover everything. That book Evicted was real. The issues it describes in Milwaukee, real. We got a real challenge. And just shooing people off property, but with not enough. I'm not saying nothing is being done, but with not enough, I just don't know where, because they're going to go somewhere. They got to go somewhere. And all we keep doing is moving people from spot to spot. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how many agencies actually went to the parking rides once we realized this is where people staying, and tried to figure out what the needs were of these people on these lots. Like, why you out here, man? What's going on? And is there any way we can plug you into something? So that's just, it was no way. I was not going to mention that either this morning, because I'm not going to act like I don't see these people, and like that they are not people, because it's easier to just dismiss people outright and act like, that's somebody else's issue. That's our problem. So let me do this real quick. I want to get to some election stuff. We want to remind people that we are in the heat of early in-person voting, and that the numbers are looking good. A lot of folks are showing up. A lot of people are participating. It is extremely important that folks understand that you have the ability to early vote until November 2nd. To November 3rd, Sunday, November 3rd. There were people that were sending me photos of school buses pulling up at early voting locations. And so I said, I wonder if that was sold to the polls. I don't know what it was, but it was school buses pulling up so people could get out and vote. I mean, people passing by, seeing what was happening. I want to thank and shout out the folks that held the early vote rally out at Midtown. I know Von Mason was connected to some of that. And people were texting me like, girl, I just came out of Pick and Save and saw Kerry Washington over in Midtown. Like Olivia Pope is in Midtown. Like, it was so cool that people were excited. People were seeing folks, like, it's a lot happening. I want to give you a quick update because we have the numbers in terms of what happened since I last talked to you guys on Friday about the numbers coming in here in the city. And Saturday, almost 3,800 people showed up to vote. 482 new registrations. In terms of Sunday, about 2,100 people, a little over 2,100 people showed up to vote. 221 new registrations. So this is on the weekend. And on the weekend, when it was a beautiful weekend, folks could have been doing other stuff. Chose not to vote, put it off. People went out. We are showing up. We got to keep it up, y'all. Now that you have voted, if you've done that, if you got your absentee ballot in the mail, I need you to go to myvote.wi.gov to track that ballot, make sure it's been received. And then I need you to turn around and make sure at least 5 other people that's in your family that you cool with, that you have a relationship with, that they are good too. This is not a moment to say, okay, I did my part. Ooh, child, I can go sit down. No. We need everybody at the table. Everybody has to do their part. So let me see. Somebody said, this is the problem I have with this country. We have money for wars, but not to help Americans. What can we do about this, Michelle? Really, something has to be done. I hate to say it, but some of it really does start with who we send to Washington. who we put in state office, because these decisions are being made by people, and in most cases people that have been elected. So if we put non-caring individuals in office, or people who have different priorities than we do, then we get what we get. And I'm gonna talk about it. People texting me right now, like, girl, if you don't hurry up and talk about this ignorant comedian that Donald Trump and them had on the stage, if you don't hurry up, I'm like, I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming. So let me take a quick break. L playing music in the background, like, you gonna pay some bills first. I'm coming. When I come back, I will talk about the comedian whose sense of humor just wasn't funny to a lot of people. But oh wait, but there were a ton of Republicans that either co-signed or said nothing. I'll tell you what I'm talking about on the other side. Be right back. to the show. So not one more person better not text me about this comedian and the Donald Trump rally that was held in Madison Square Garden in New York. I'm talking about it right now. So we can just stop it right now. All right. So, Donald Trump on his own announced he was leaving New York. He was running down to Florida because he didn't feel the love in New York. Letitia James and the folks who initiated some of these cases against him about his, fraud in relationship to the charitable organization that he had. And now he owes the city of New York millions of dollars for fraud. He just wasn't feeling it. I'm not being, loved, valued, respected. I'm going to Florida. So he runs down to Florida. And okay. But, you running to be president of the United States. So in this remaining 12, 11 days, not talking about as of today, but as of this weekend, they being the candidates, are out doing what folks are saying are their closing arguments for why you should choose me over him or her. And Donald Trump decided, everybody think I'm scared to go to New York. Everybody think I'm scared. I don't have no friends in New York. I'm going to show y'all I'm taking my rally to Madison Square Garden. So he go to the garden. And I think they said about 9,000 people came. Now, I don't know how many people the garden hold, but anyway, we're not gonna talk numbers. We ain't gonna talk size, crowd size. We're not gonna do that. But Donald Trump and his team set a program. Okay. And the very first person that they have to come out on the stage after they sing the little national anthem is a comedian. And this comedian, his name is Tony Hinchcliffe. This comedian has his own podcast called Kill Tony. I understand why the name of his podcast is called Kill Tony, because this is such a vile and vulgar little man who couches his racism in humor and thinks that we all are supposed to go along with it and not call it for what it is. So he opens up the rally and he has all of these racial slurs against Latinos, against African Americans, and other groups, quite frankly, that Trump is trying to appeal to in your big push, your last, hurrah on a bigger stage to get people to come over to your side and vote for you. And so there is this portion where he talks about the Hispanic community, Latinos. And he says, Latinos, quote, love making babies. There's no pulling out. They come inside just like they do to our country. People in the arena were laughing. He added, quote, there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. It's called Puerto Rico. El Boogie's eyes just got big in the studio. Why your eyes get big, Al?
Because I've been to Puerto Rico and it's beautiful.
Okay.
So that was harsh.
Okay. There were people that shared your sentiments. Some of the laughter dies down because there are Latinos in the audience. There is a nice contingency of Hispanic, Latino, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Americans that support Donald Trump. So they're in the audience. And thank you, my man. Carvey said, especially in New York. So you got the opening salvo, the opening shots being fired, and they aimed at the minorities in the audience. So, there are still, some white folks in the audience, head back. just what? L, you can laugh out loud, man. Leave your mic alone. You fine, bro. You must not listen to our show in the morning. You ain't gotta you ain't gotta like laugh in silence. Carvey, no, like, come on, fam. I'm just
That was
oh, my laugh.
that sounded like somebody off Monopoly.
That's what they was doing. If I had to imagine these white boys in there laughing at the Latino jokes, that's what they was doing in my head. And so they, but some of the, the Latino people was like, wait, what we doing? What's happening right now? And the guy, he's like, come on, you guys, we've got humor in the Republican Party. And then he goes to, I'm jumping around, but he goes to to black people. So he sees a black guy, in the audience, and he says, oh yeah, there's a black. And he says, what is that on your head? I've yet to be able to go back and figure out exactly I don't know if he's talking about the brother's hair or what was he, referencing in relationship to the brother. But he said that, yeah, there's a black guy. And then he says, oh, no. He and I we're friends. He said we were just at a Halloween party. And we were, did he say carving watermelons? I guess as opposed to carving pumpkins. And so, there's laughter. There's laughter. But what I wanted was for them to, zoom in on the black man's face to see if he was laughing. And then he went on to disparage other people. So it was just a vile and raggedy set, okay, of this comedian. But trust me, it was people laughing. It wasn't as raucous and as loud. It wasn't no Dave Chappelle type laughter. It wasn't no Kevin Hart laughter. It wasn't no even non-funny Eddie Griffin laughter. But it was laughter. So, of course, after, this, where people realize like, oh my God, this is crazy. Republican speaker after Republican speaker comes out and none of them address the bad humor, the racial slurs that are mentioned in the opening, speaker, in the opening act. None of them mention it. And not only do none of them mention it, there are other people that come up. They hold up a crucifix, basically calling Kamala Harris the Antichrist, and that she's an evil, person. Just personally, she's evil. Personally. And Donald Trump himself, you trying to target a particular demographic, and he comes out talking about immigration and weeding out people that are the enemy from within. He called for the death penalty for any migrant who kills an American citizen or law enforcement officer. So again, purporting and pretending to care about law enforcement officers, but you didn't give a damn about law enforcement officers on January 6th that were trying to protect the U.S. Capitol. In fact, the one black law enforcement officer who you actually wanted people to do harm to by releasing his name and information when he had to kill Ashley Babbitt, who had broken out a window trying to get into the locked area where they were protecting members of Congress. So this law enforcement officer is doing his job, happens to be a brother, and Donald Trump wants to release his name. They do release his name because they want somebody to, in turn, put this man in harm's way. So you only support law enforcement that's riding with you. that's allowing your ignorance and whatever to go on. And then the crowd starts chanting about the immigrants or the migrants, send them back, send them back, send them back. And then they have plagiarizing Melania Trump come out and introduce Donald. The chick who on the way to Puerto Rico had on a coat that had words on the back that said, I don't really care, do you? Or something to that equivalent. She literally, as they're going to see about disaster relief for American citizens who have been impacted by storms and weather in Puerto Rico, has on a coat that says, I don't really care. So was that a mistake? Because everybody knows that Melania has tried to clean up her trashy image by wearing expensive clothing. $1,200 slacks, $1,400 blazers, and still yet Michelle Obama can go to Target and get more play and more pub for her Target dress. Because money can't buy you class, which is what Donald has learned, which is what trashy Melania has learned. Money can't buy you class. You can't put on enough red bottoms, Ralph Lauren, whatever designer you want to put on to be able to give you actual class. These ain't number outfits. And the minute you take them off, your true self in all your butt naked birthday suit is standing there. And so Melania asks the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Crowd yells back, no. I don't know what y'all don't remember about how this man left office and we were in complete and total meltdown in this country with millions of bodies with hundreds of thousands of bodies in body bags that couldn't even have burials because of COVID. And it was managed so poorly. Yeah, I don't know what y'all saw. Kids weren't going to school. Businesses were shuttered. But y'all ain't better off today? Are kids still not going to school? Are businesses still out of business? Like, are folks still like record unemployment? Like, what are y'all talking about? But I should listen to you. The woman who gives her very first speech, and it's a plagiarized speech, biting words from Michelle Obama. My parents used to say in my country that your word is your bond. I'm sorry, wait, what? Your mom and daddy said word is bond. That's what your mom and daddy said. And again, this astute little brother who was a reporter sitting in Starbucks because his newspaper had let him go. And he was sitting there typing and looked up and heard, word is your bond. And he was like, nah, I heard this speech before. And he got to Googling and he figured out that's Michelle Obama's speech. He makes some calls, and then the next thing you know, it's on the news and everybody talking about your first speech out the gate, chick. You copied Michelle Obama's speech, portions of her speech. You know damn well this white lady mama ain't said, your word is your bond. Ain't nobody told you that. Didn't nobody tell you that, fam? So, this event, now people have an opportunity to digest. And if he don't stop bringing out Hulk Hogan, looking like...
Yes, brother. That's so old.
And Hulk Hogan, this is Donald Trump's house, brother. You know something, Trumpomaniacs. I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. Like, what are you doing? You don't see no Nazi members, but you see the Klan. You see the Proud Boys. You see whatever other little group, the Aryan Nation, whatever these other people are. You see the basket of deplorables that Hillary Clinton talked about. Everybody that was hot about Hillary Clinton saying basket of deplorables. What y'all got to say now? Because at some point, you can't keep looking at the buffoon that is Donald Trump. You got to start looking at the people that support him. You are allowing this foolishness to continue. And you are giving license to this comedian to get on the stage and talk about Puerto Rico being trash. This is an American territory. Puerto Rico being trash. Who gets up and trashes the country in that way? But people was upset when Michelle Obama said something about, I'm finally proud of my country. And she got ripped a whole new one. But these people talk about America negatively every time they get in front of a mic. Every time. Donald Trump just called America trash. We are the trash bucket for the rest of the world. That's what he said, because people that are migrants like his wife, or migrants, and children of migrants like his wife and J.D. Vance's wife. So when y'all folks came over and your wife, Melania Trump's parents came over, because their daughter has citizenship, now they equally come over and hurry up and get citizenship. Oh, we ain't got nothing to say about them migrants. Those ain't the migrants we talking about. The double standard is so out of control and out of pocket. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. But yes, that's what this dude does. He says that, this is a horrible place and we are making it worse. And in Donald Trump, some of the other speakers said, you've got a fighter behind the scenes and out in public. Get out and fight, fight, fight. And that fight comes from that first assassination attempt, in which this man did not know who was shooting, who was in harm's way. He didn't care about nobody else. He didn't look behind him to see, because the bullet didn't really go in your body. It grazed your earlobe, or the tip of your ear, and went on somewhere else. You don't even look behind and be like, is anyone hurt? Is everybody okay? Everybody get down. No. You jumping up to my fight. And as I said, fight who? You want everybody to put their life in harm's way, because they weren't trying to kill the rest of the people. They was trying to kill you. But you want everybody else to come fight for you. They weren't there to kill the rest of the people at the rally. That man was there to kill your behind. But you don't care about nobody else. Because you don't care if it's children, women, old people, young people. You don't care. You just start screaming, fight. And so it could have just been a wild melee, but who was they fighting? That's what people need to understand as they are making these decisions. Because now some fake Jake Republicans want to come out and say that what the comedian said was out of line. But everybody that was connected to that rally yesterday and took the stage didn't open their mouth. They didn't say a word. They piled on in some cases. And for all these minority groups that support these white racists that are following Donald Trump, and many of them are, I don't care who don't like it, I don't care what you got to say, you do not see this kind of behavior and decide that policies are so important that racism is acceptable. Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're telling people. I feel so strongly about abortion that it's okay to be racially discriminatory to the Negroes and the Spaniards and the others. That's what you're doing. So we've picked one issue over another. Somebody said that picture of him at the first assassination attempt has been put on signs here near my neighborhood. What? By Trump supporters? What, they trying to remind us? Okay, I want to know. I wonder why they put the signs up. You got to figure out who put them signs up if it's a name on them. But that's the thing that people around us are doing right now. You would have never heard no mess like this at a political rally 4 years ago. Or wait, let me just stop. When did this idiot start running for office? 2016, 15? So before then, It would have been unacceptable. Like, people have got to be asking themselves that are Republicans, what am I a part of right now? Because this is some nonsense. What am I a member of? How do you proudly walk around and say I'm a Republican and you got people calling other Americans trash and talking about damn watermelon? And I wish somebody would tell white people, like, fam, the watermelon jokes, they don't play with us. Because we already know what you're doing. And I love, too, how some of the media outlets honed in on the Puerto Rico comment, but they didn't talk about the watermelon comment. Yeah, notice the coverage. Notice the coverage. They talked a lot about the trash. But they didn't talk about a whole bunch about black folks and the way we were disparaged at the Trump rally. And I want to hear our good black Republicans publicly come out and say all of that was out of order. And it's easy for you to do because it was the comedian. It wasn't Donald Trump. But I bet what you won't do is say, and Donald Trump should have said something about it. And you know why you won't do it? Because you can't. Because you know he wouldn't have. He did exactly when Kamala Harris says, we know this man. We know what he's about. We know who he is, what he does. She ain't lying. If it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a racist. I just want to be clear. So at some point, y'all, people got to go back. Oh, somebody said he is using the first assassination attempt picture on billboards, talking about then Trump rose. Seriously, if someone, okay. Rose to what? What's going on, bro? You pulled up like you was about to get to chopping it up. What's going on?
Man, I pulled up on the block. You understand me? I'm here early.
Dude, why are you? Normally you would be at the gym. Y'all already know that voice Jermaine ride out.
Yeah, well, you know.
So did you work out this morning? Because I'm gonna need you to keep all that together.
Actually, I didn't because I was here early. But when I leave,
I'm gonna need you to stay fit.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. I'm going hard on the trail.
You know, I got extra girlfriends now because they tried to holler at you.
Hey, you understand me? You understand me? That's chest hairs. It's chest hairs. You understand me?
Really? Wait. That ain't sexy. Stop
I ain't
that.
got no chest hair.
Stop
but it's itching. It's growing.
Stop. Yeah. See, you always
itchy. Yeah.
Here we go. End of the conversation.
No, but I just
what?
I actually sat and watched the Trump thing on Fox News, and I was
the rally with the comedian.
I was very disturbed. One, the Madison Square Garden was almost like a resemblance of the Nazi
1939.
1939.
Right.
And it smelled just like it from some of the language that was being used. Of course, they was disguising it because they didn't want it to be upright races.
Right.
But it was most definitely smelling like a racist rally, a Nazi rally.
You literally invoked the word watermelon.
And people laugh.
Yeah. And for the brother that's standing there, I swear to God, I wish I had been in the room just so I could have zoomed over with a mic and be like, so tell me what you're thinking right now. So tell me how this lands with you right now.
Yeah.
And watch him tap dance because now you got to defend this.
Yeah, because you're
a part of it.
You would have to shoo.
You know, you got to defend this.
Yeah.
And I want to hear the black Republicans that post up on this radio station talk about that rally and the ignorance that was said.
See, but you know they're not going to talk about it for the simple fact that they run away from the truth and they tap dance on the lie and what ifs and all of this other trash. Because again, I saw Donald Trump say when he was talking about January 6th, he says there was no guns
Yeah.
They had guns. We didn't have any guns. Nobody got killed. Then he said such and such got killed. So I'm like, you saying two different
Because he
things
talked out
at
both
once.
sides of his neck.
And nobody is
They don't
addressing
challenge
it.
this dude.
Nobody is saying
You know, people
anything
have been
about
coming after the media, and rightfully so. I've been saying this for a while. Like, they let this man get away with murder, and then they just dismiss it
Unbelievable.
as Trump being Trump. But you got to call out and fact check BS when you hear it.
Yeah.
And when he says, excuse me, our people didn't have guns, not only did they have guns, they had brought up a separate vehicle with guns. Somebody drove them up so that they could have them at the event.
This man said it was a day of love. Then he also said
And they just repeated that on the rally yesterday.
that it was a day of love, but said that he spoke to his people and they didn't go there for anything else but just to express how they felt about.
I'm just trying to figure out how love includes you dropping your drawers
Yeah.
and taking a bowel movement on the floor in the U.S. Capitol,
Or even
and then spreading the feces.
busting
How
out
does that happen?
windows and calling for Mike Pence head and looking for all
And
of these
climbing up the
people.
side of the building like monkeys and animals. You know, like,
But just imagine this, and I want everybody here in this studio to just imagine if the people that was doing that was black people that was climbing up the White House, that was breaking windows, that caused officers to lose their life. Just imagine how much of a story it would be even right now. How huge it would be, and they'll be talking about they were just animals and thugs and that's no way to act, and that's not the American way. But you got white people that went to the Capitol, stormed the Capitol,
and some minorities.
Yeah,
It
I
was
don't
some-
think we would have made it that far.
you could
At
count on your
all.
hand, but it was some black folks in there. I saw some black women,
oh yeah,
you know, with they people up in there. I saw some Hispanic Latino people.
yeah.
For sure. It was
So-
a handful of
so
them.
I just-
Some of us was there.
But just imagine if the percentile that was reversed.
Yeah, it was
87% black.
95% white people.
See
Let's
what I'm
just be
saying?
honest about it, right?
So if that was the narrative, do you know how bad they would be talking about us?
We can't even walk in the street and hold up signs. We can't even do that because we creating a disturbance.
We can't even jaywalk.
Right. If 3 or more of us are gathered, it's a riot.
game.
Some of the legislation that they tried to pass in the state capitol after the George Floyd thing, they basically didn't want 3 of us assembled at any given time because it is a potential for a riot.
So how crazy is that you got thousands of people with the same agenda now?
And we're being asked to act like we didn't see what we saw.
And that's what's tripping me out.
Caller, I
because
see you. I'll be right there.
It started somewhere. Somebody started this whole thing of, hey, if it don't go our way, we gonna do this. So everybody reach out and get everybody on one accord so we can be in position.
You got Clarence
to do
Thomas'
it.
wife, a Supreme Court justice's wife, on the phone with Donald Trump's chief of staff trying to figure out how to overturn the election.
I mean, I heard Trump say out of his mouth,
You gotta-
find me some votes.
Yeah, you got another justice whose wife is hanging the upside down flag to protest. Like, you got all of this. These people are interwoven throughout the
Yeah.
process all along the way.
Yeah.
Let me bring this caller in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning,
Good morning.
Michelle. I'm telling you, your guest there, and to Harvey, good morning. Harvey, I'm going to name him Harvey. Listen, I heard that rally. I saw that rally. It was frightening. 20,000 cheering people for him. But did you notice what he said? That they said the security clearances were not going to be done by the FBI because he don't trust them. Do you hear what? I hope
Yes.
people are listening. That means he's going to dismantle them eventually. And the next thing that he's going to be coming for, he already got the court. Justice is not blind, okay? She's looking, and she's not just. The police force, the good cops, they're going to retire them, and you're going to have the Nazis in the police force, okay? So people had better stop playing this game and stop acting like, oh, he's just being Donald. You're going to get what you're looking for, and it's not going to be what you want, okay? And black people have an opportunity. Here they're running to their oppressor. to oppress them more. And when they say, oh, just like all the regulations, we went through all this trouble with the regulation. As far as McDonald's is concerned, I don't eat McDonald's. I don't like their burgers or whatever. But I have a lot of friends or some associates that own McDonald's. I want them to be successful. But onions would not be something that I would have on my no sandwich in nothing that I eat. Regulations, when you hire people that work around food, they have to have good health conditions. They're hiring people that don't even have health insurance. You know what I'm saying? So we're losing at all levels. And we had better be mindful of what's going on. And once again, the college students, this girl, I don't know if she thought she was being smart. She said, well, I'm still undecided. Here you are in college and you're undecided and you have a computer and all kind of information at your hand, at your fingertips. Even if you don't know a whole bunch about Kamala, you know Donald Trump. And it's not going to be the world that you think you want to live in. It's going to be chaos. Get ready if he get elected. But get ready if he don't. Because he's promised a lot of low-lives jobs, okay? So every corner you turn, people going to be doing things. So if you can get out there early and vote, you better get out there and do it. And I'm telling you, don't sit this one out, people. You don't have the luxury of sitting it out. Get out there and get busy. Because if you don't, who do you have to blame? Yourself. God bless us all. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be watching. I'll be up late watching to see what's going on. And I pray when I wake up the next morning, it be what I expect.
All right. Thank you, caller. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. You know, and I want to take a second and play off something that Jermaine said a moment ago, because Donald Trump and his cronies are playing from a playbook. Okay. They are poisoning the water right now with lies about how well he's performing, how well he's doing, that this is not a close race, but that he is leaps and bounds ahead of Kamala Harris in all polling. They have gotten some fake Republican polls that they are pushing around saying that this is accurate. And they're setting the mental foundation for people to believe, well, I was hearing up until election day that Donald Trump was doing so great. His numbers were really high. But if you go poll after respectable known poll that does not have a partisan slant, they will show these candidates neck and neck within 2 or 3 percentage points of the margin of error. They will show them. But he is trying to set the trap now because the writing is on the wall, I think, again, for him to lose. And he is setting the plate now for drama and violence and people to question the election results.
Donald Trump is playing chess while the world is playing checkers. And I'm going to give you some examples. That's kind of far stretched, but just think about it. We are living in a time now that, people mindsets are all over the place and they're being challenged. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Because if I say I identify as a couch, in my mind, I believe I'm a couch because I said it over and over and over again. So Donald Trump is using this theory of if I say it over and over and over and over again, and the masses hear it, they're going to start to believe it. So I can say I'm winning. And I can say, man, that I got this.
And some of that strategy, I agree.
Strategy.
But some of that is just his delusions too.
Yeah,
because he has a hard time accepting reality. He has a hard time dealing with the fact that you're not winning, bruh.
But
this is neck and neck.
But this is a thing. If I'm a liar, I'm going to believe my lies.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to spread that to everybody else because I want everybody else to believe what I believe.
Right. No disagreement. But I'm just saying some of it is strategic and some of it is narcissism.
Yeah, it's all played into one pot of gumbo. It's all one pot of gumbo. Put it all in one pot and feed it to the people.
And you got about 70+ million people that's biting.
that's biting and and they eating up and not realizing
that they eating poison.
and their stomach gonna be tore up from
You
the
eating
floor.
poison.
You eating poison.
You eating poison.
And he's serving it to you.
And they he said, and they laughing.
Yeah.
They eating it and they laughing.
Yeah, and he's sitting back and he's watching them with the dumb look on his face, knowing, hey, I got them. Because if I can feed it to you and you accept it, I got you.
I knew he had them, but he knew it. What he said, going back to 2016. I can stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and all these cats and clowns are still gonna run with me. Just think about that. Somebody tells you I can go break the law and kill somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and all y'all so dumb and so gullible, you still gonna ride with me. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back, y'all. Michelle Bryant, WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. You listening to Say Something Real. We'll be right back. So want to bring into the conversation, since we're talking about, the behavior of people and folks being unwilling to acknowledge what is sound. I am even compelled to use the term right and wrong, because when you look at what Donald Trump represents and has done and said, uh, in using the bully platform and the bully pulpit that he has, it's dangerous. And you got John Kelly and other people finally being moved to come out and say that this guy should not be returned to office. This man is a threat. This man fits the definition of a fascist. But we have people that are paying attention. And during the break here in the studio, one of the things I was saying is, because Jermaine, as he was talking in the break during the studio, he was doing a physical demonstration of like how people are just getting in line, following blindly the ignorance that has become the Republican Party and what they're saying and doing. And I mean, I haven't mentioned it nearly enough, but I need to make sure that I include Eric Hovde in this conversation. Because when I say racist and ignorant as the day is long, I know black people, because I've been to Africa and seen poor people. Like that Kamala Harris moment when she looked at Donald Trump like, what? Like, this is the MO of these people. And they tried to clean it up and dress it up and polish it up. And after they did some autopsy reports, after losing a number of elections, what do we need to do? Because the electorate is changing. It's not going to be lily white voters forever. It's not going to be a majority of white voters forever. And if we're going to stay relevant as a Republican Party, we got to start doing business differently in the way we handle people of color. Black folks, Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, everybody, we got to do better. They did their own autopsy report. But then Trump comes along and they figure out like, oh, wait, hold on, player. Racism is still winning in this country. At least at the Electoral College, not with the popular vote. But racism is still winning. And so right now, we just trying to win at whatever expense is necessary. And so if we got to, go back to the watermelon shucking and jiving, and we got to, call the Latino folks over in Puerto Rico trash, let's do it. Because we winning. We got 74 million people willing to ride with us. Some of them, the very people we talking about. Because you know what? Them people turning around looking like, oh, they ain't talking about me. They ain't talking about me. I don't eat watermelon. Yeah, I'm black, but I don't eat watermelon. They ain't talking about me. So slavery was able to thrive because some very wealthy people set up all of the factors to be able to make it conducive to thriving. We pitted them against them. We made them hate them. We threw a little bit of change to the ones that could be gatekeepers. But the people who benefited the most were some of the wealthiest people in this country. Today, we see some of the wealthiest people in this country trying to run the board. Elon Musk, I don't know how no self-respecting individual drives a damn Tesla. I don't care what them cars do. If I owned a Tesla, that mess would be getting sold so fast. It's not funny, because I'll be damned if I continue to use my money knowingly, because sometimes you don't know when it's happening. But I knowingly spend my money with a racist and an ignorant individual like Elon Musk under no circumstances. I love organizational products. I order my hangers. My hangers don't come from the Walmart and them little tubular hangers. My hangers are the hangers that they use in the department stores and better. I order my hangers from Uline. I order my hangers from companies right here in Wisconsin that get shipped to my house in cases of 100. I have to start thinking about who I do business with, because you can't get my money to use it to harm me. And that's what we keep doing, y'all. How you own a Tesla right now and not try to figure out how to get rid of that mess? Jeff Bezos, you getting ready to make me no longer mess with Amazon in this way. I'm going to have to figure out the old school way of ordering and doing business with people because of what was just done by this damn billionaire to be able to shut out democracy. But I got folks on the line, so let me get them in first. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Hey, I just wanted to go back, digress a little bit into the conversation.
Okay.
When you were talking about the September 6th deal, and I heard the other brothers talk.
January 6th?
Yeah, January 6th.
Okay.
What did I say? November 6th.
September, it's all right.
Okay, January, yeah, because I'm still Disney. Listen, check this. Now, what those white folk did on January 6th is what black folk always talking about doing. See, they actually carry this out because they really believe in democracy. That's why we're able to bear arms. Why do you think the Second Amendment is so strong? Because it is for a government that would rise up with tyranny, and the people can show their hand and pull arms, and get them people back. Now, there was only one person killed in that September, on that January 6th riot. That was the girl. Now, there was a officer that died a couple of days later because he had a heart attack or stroke or something, and he died in the hospital. And they said it was probably stress related to that particular incident. Listen, when you say facts, Michelle, you always get on me about facts.
Well, let me just say this before you go forward. Let me just say this. So, as a result of January 6th, within 36 hours, 6 people were dead. One was shot by Capitol Police. Another one died of a drug overdose. 3 died of natural causes because some people had heart attacks as a result of participating in January 6th, or police officers. And a police officer died after being assaulted by rioters within 36 hours. And 174 police officers were injured. So I just want to be clear. Within 36 hours of that riot, there were 6 people dead and 174 injured. At least 174 officers.
We're talking about on the scene at the crime, the day that it happened. Okay, we don't. I mean, we can try to tie that in, or we can try to tie that in. But we're talking about actually on the grounds of the White House. But anyway, that right there, I had to say that because them white folk went and did what black folk always done, especially your mascot.
So let me ask: are you saying this in an admirable way, like white folks did what we wasn't able to do, or we not willing to do? Are you saying that in a way that is like
what we're not willing to do?
So let me be clear. Hang on. So let's be clear, because black people understand that should we mount up and go to the U.S. Capitol in that way, we're not going to be handled the same way. See, please give us credit for having a little bit of sense. We know that this is a white man's country, no matter how many minorities live here. And we know that we would be treated very, very differently if we show up in that way. They would use not only the National Guard, but if they could have figured out a way to use the military against us, we would be dead and laying in the streets. So while we admiring white people having the gumption to go to the U.S. Capitol to tear up stuff, it's because white folks know what nothing gonna happen to them.
Listen, this is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was something great, but I want you to understand something. Freedom, them white folk was going to die. That's the thing. Freedom costs death, costs blood, and that's why I'm so peed off at these other immigrants that come into this country that's already survived. I mean, taking the stuff that our folks blood. See, we got sweat and blood and death equity in this country. And of these other people that are coming in here don't. So freedom costs death, all right? And you got a mascot that call in all the time, and y'all like to laugh and jaw jack with him and clown around. But he always talking about standing up against the white man, okay? Well, listen to this here. It takes gumption And he always talking about we gonna get the gun and we do white man this and do whatever. And listen, he ain't gonna bust a grape out of fruit. I just wanted to add to that. It was something else that I want to talk about, but I'm down here at City Hall. I got to do some other things. Okay, bye.
All right, bye. Well, let me go to the other caller and then I'll respond to some of that. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
Hey, JT. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Michelle Bryant. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good.
I want to just say quickly, good morning to those excellent genius, those young genius you have in the radio station this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say good morning to the young man.
Good morning, man.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle, I'm going to leave that other thing alone. What I just said. Lord have mercy. You talking about a Donald Trump mascot, Jesus Christ. But anyway. Anyway, getting back to what you were saying earlier about the people that the Republicans try to find to run against Senator Tammy Baldwin. It seems like every time they try to find someone to get more ridiculous and more sickening all the time. I think he's about the third one, right? That try to run against. They just try to get to run against Tammy Baldwin.
Yeah, and I mean it's no problem if you want to run somebody against Tammy Baldwin, but stop putting these creeps on the ballot. These people that's trying to take us back to the Stone Ages and when racism reigned supreme. Like, stop. If you put a quality candidate up, for God's sake, and somebody who actually live in Wisconsin. Jesus. But go ahead.
Thank you. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I know that there's still a lot of black game enthusiasts out there. Now, if y'all that crazy about Black Fire still, you can meet him with Donald Trump in Green Bay.
That's right, Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. Yeah, so y'all can run to Green Bay and meet y'all Black Fire. He's going to be
two con men together. Brett Favre. Yep, thank you, JT. I was going to mention it, but yep, two con men together.
All right, thank you, Michelle.
All right, appreciate the call, bro. Yeah, so for people that are like, wait, what's going on with Brett Favre? It was announced that Brett Favre is going to be campaigning with Donald Trump up in Green Bay on Wednesday, and I just started cracking up because I was like, oh, two con men together. Here is this welfare fraud thief, just so you can put a soccer field in for your child, and he's had some other issues concerning his ethical behavior, but no surprise that he a Donald Trump supporter. None, 0, him and Aaron Rodgers raggedy behind. No surprise that you a Donald Trump supporter. You busy trying to hustle and skim money off of welfare programs so your child's school can have a soccer field when you could have paid for it yourself, tapped all your rich friends to be able to help out. Your name alone would have brought in contributions. But instead of working hard to do that, y'all decided to go the easy route. And the way that people frequently do is to, like, how can we mess over low income people, black folks, people of color, anybody that's using some of these programs, and we're going to siphon the money and steal it from there. So yeah. Birds of a feather. And to think that I used to cheer for this dude, it literally makes me want to throw up. Literally. But you ain't nothing but a damn shiesty con man. And I wonder, like, how all the brothers that played with him got to go back and relook and think about some of this stuff over the years. Because the signs had to be there that you was a part of this ethically challenged BS. You have been afforded, not just because of talent, but also because of the way this world is set up, that a football player can make more money than the president of the United States. But you generate that kind of money, so I'm not mad at y'all at all. But you have been afforded every opportunity, and it still was not enough. You chose to be a greedy SOB along the way. Not enough. But then you want the accolades and the shine. Brett Favre brought a soccer field to the university. Brett Favre did this. But you did it off the backs of low income and poor people. You're a trifling behind individual. So trifling and trifling deserve to be together. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Michelle.
Yes.
I'm sorry for calling back again.
You all right? Go
That's
ahead.
why they called in before. I guess he couldn't get the black men to really buy in to go vote for Trump. So now he want to get us killed in masses, huh?
Right.
Yeah. So be careful who people come and talk to you. And Brett Favre never fooled me. I knew he was a racist the minute. I just don't like green.
Yeah, Mississippi was showing up for real.
That they don't get prizes to come do a rally here this week. I'm hoping it's booked and he can't get his tail in there. But then I'm gonna tell you a thing with Tammy Baldwin. The reason why you can't get good people running, who she's sleeping with is not your business. Tell us what she's doing wrong, and you can't come up with that. So you have to come up with the malarkey. And this guy owns a bank. Okay, he owns a bank. He can do it. He could fix some of the ills in this world, and Elon Musk with a drop of a hat. And what do they do with that? Well, keep meeting with Putin. He's been meeting with Putin since 22. What do people want? They're telling us right now, and I'm telling you, the race is not as close as you think. It really isn't. But he's planting the seed once again for doubt. But I don't think you have that many ignorant people around, and they're going to show it. And he's not going to believe it. So get ready, hold on, but get out there and vote. And don't believe these latest commercials because they are full of garbage. They backtracking on what they said. They got to put the two commercials together to show where he supported it, and now he's saying something different. What are we, ignorant? Don't insult my intelligence, number one. Have a great day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I said soccer, I didn't mean to say volleyball in terms of the field that Brett Favre siphoned this $6 million to be able to help pay for. So my bad. And also the fact that he was taking $1 million for payments for speeches that he never gave. Somebody said that was what was messed up too about the rally. You know, Trump at the Trump rally, Rudy Giuliani is standing there behind him because they got to figure out how to keep Rudy, you know, in some way placated because Rudy done lost damn near everything messing with Donald Trump and gonna lose more because these lawyers that's working on behalf of what's her name, Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shay, they not playing. They coming for everything this dude got. They coming. So the least they could do is let Rudy stand there because, dude, you going straight down the toilet messing with Donald Trump. Tomorrow is the deadline for them to have transferred Rudy's multi-million-dollar apartment to these black women in Georgia who he said was, you know, passing around ballots and doing like what looked like illegal drug deals, like crack deals, you know, because black people got to be equated to crack and the drugs. Rudy Giuliani about to lose everything. So, yeah, I'm not surprised they got that idiot standing there because it's the least we could do because you done lost everything trying to ride with this man, just like most people who get connected to Trump. And somebody said, you know, my favorite person who likes to antagonize me, where's his little thing? This talking about the assassination. This was orchestrated by the FBI. Hence, when the FBI directors was asked how many agents were on the ground, all you heard was stumbling and stammering. The leader of the Proud Boys was an FBI informant. This was designed to increase the police, which happened after the defund the police movement. It's funny how you guys are, I don't know what this word means, blavading, I don't know what that is, how bad Trump is, but somehow it's a toss-up in the polls. What does that say about the person you support? No, boo. It ain't what it say about Kamala. It's what it say about the people that support Donald Trump. That's what the question is. All the way back to 2016 when Hillary Clinton talked about the basket of deplorables. The people that are willing to put their own self-interest ahead of the country's. The people that are willing to say that because I feel so strongly about one issue, abortion, that everything else can go to hell. That's what it says. It don't say nothing about Kamala when you can sit on your behind and understand that this man has been found guilty in New York of frauding charities. This man has been found guilty of defrauding people going to Trump University and had to pay back $25 million in a settlement. That this man has been found guilty of defamation of character, and they believe that he assaulted E. Jean Carroll, that 19 women have come forward to accuse him of sexual assault. They got commercials with the women using their faces saying, this is what happened to me on the airplane. This is what happened to me here, here, and here. So, no. It ain't what it said about Kamala Trump. It's what it says about the folks that supporting Donald Trump. The folks that sat in line and was okay with people being called, an island of trash, and the watermelon references. No, Negro, don't be sending me these silly text messages talking about what does that say about Kamala. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Hillary Clinton got excoriated because she said basket of deplorables. I be damned if it ain't been proven true. You see all of this foulness in this dude and still try to figure out a way to decide how you can support him. Everything about him stinks. Everything about him is foul and degenerate. All of it. All of it. From his personal decisions to cheat on every wife he's ever had, right up until this last one who keeps standing there by his side like some idiot while you gotta see a case where he done paid $130,000 to this woman not to reveal that while you was pregnant, getting ready to go into labor, he was laying up in a brothel. We won't even talk about his personal life. Let's keep it to business. 5 bankruptcies. You can't borrow money in the United States of America because your credit's so bad. Carvey at 19 got a better credit score than Donald Trump. Your family is such a financial risk, they couldn't get security clearances to be in the White House. You bended the rules so that Jared Kushner could get in the White House. And one of the things that people was worried about, you come in with the building that your daddy left you in $1 billion or however many millions of dollars that was in trouble. And then all of a sudden, was it the Saudi Arabians that gave Jared Kushner the money to save to get out the financial hole they was in? That was the very thing that the FBI was worried about. So don't talk to me about the FBI, because the FBI was the one saying these people are so shady, they shouldn't even have clearance to be in the White House. Jared Kushner shouldn't have been allowed to be a cook in the White House. Yet alone, you going overseas to negotiate foreign disputes and foreign policy on our behalf. Gone with that nonsense. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? And foreign policy on our behalf. Hey, caller.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Everybody in the studio. Thank you for taking my call. The point that you were making to the person who texts you leads right into the comment that I was going to make. But because of this whole issue of millionaires, the reason why Kamala Harris's campaign is having such a difficult time getting their message out is because of the major mainstream corporate media and the fact that they do not provide coverage of all of the foolishness that Trump does. They're not providing coverage of his health, his mental state of mind, anything related to Trump that's negative. They do not cover it, and they are ripping her insides out every chance they get. And that leads me to the point that I originally called for. Because of this whole mess with Jeff Bezos, I don't know how to pronounce his name really, but I've been cutting back on Amazon anyway, but I've been spending $80 a month on alkaline water from Amazon. And I got myself a Brita filter bottle and a Brita filter for my countertop. And I am getting alkaline water from a local water company, Be Clear Water Company. And they are socially responsible, locally Black-owned company for this reason and others. I was already moving in that direction, but this last situation just got me there a whole lot quicker, and I've just weaned myself off of a good part of my Amazon bill.
You know what?
And thank you for allowing me to make that
thank
comment.
you. And thank you for mentioning Be Clear, because I am familiar with them. You know, I didn't get into it in great detail. I will most likely tomorrow. Thank you, caller. But yes, Jeff Bezos, the Washington Post has for decades, made endorsements in these upcoming presidential elections. And Jeff Bezos pulls, the endorsement. The editorial board had already written it, already put it together. He pulls it. And then shortly after the endorsement is pulled, he then has his executives have a meeting with Donald Trump. And so people are saying, while he may not be Elon Musk out front, champion and ride or die for Trump publicly, that he has just as much to lose, just as much at stake. He is scared of Donald Trump and whatever it looks like in terms of regulation or people being, willing to, not show light or favor to his business. So we got to talk about that. But understand this. We got billionaires that are basically buying up everything, controlling everything, so that it is still a minority of people that continue to make decisions for the masses in this country. And we're led to believe it's us making the decisions, but you got the wealthiest people in this world that we are making wealthy. They use our money to harm us. Nothing new. I got to go, y'all. Let me say, I forget you, Keith Pierce. Keith in the corner with his fists up, Black Power. He get on my whole nerves. Fight. El Boogie, I want to thank you this morning for joining me, bro. You know what? We fight responsibly. We fight when it's necessary. Carvey, appreciate you. You were good in that green, boy. It suits you. All right, family, I got to go. I appreciate my co-host this morning, none other than Jermaine Rideout, who came through. Yes, he was my co-host this morning. All right, family, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace. Say something